Hi, everyone. I'm Wa.
And I'm Chris, and welcome to DocuSweeties.
We're two longtime friends who discuss the riveting and sometimes trashy world of reality TV and docuseries.
Yes, my loves, but through our own lens, which can be a little salty, a little sweet. Oh, that's what we are, sweet. I did it! Yay! So here we are. We're talking about the deep end. This is Ep.4, The Adversary. And this is again a docu-series on Hulu/Freeform, and it told the story. This is the last episode of like a film crew going in and having a very, very up close personal relationship for months with Teal Swan, who is a spiritual YouTube leader, and her inner circle, her friends, and they had access to her retreats and her conversations in what looks like Marriott's, like in Marriott lecture halls. And it is all about, well, not all about, but there's a lot of in topics about suicide and abuse. So trigger warning, this is what we're talking about. This is what the docu-series about. So please don't, listen if you don't want to. Wow, hi.
Hi. Hello, everyone. So, The Adversary. So, this is, like Chris said, the end of a four-part series. And we start off with Teal, the cult leader, Teal Swan.
Mm-hmm.
And she's having a conversation with Molly, who is a third-party investigator that she has hired, her and her team, to investigate their group following to suss out whether or not there's any accuracy to the claims that it is a cult.
Yes.
And she asks Teal about her negotiables. Now Teal goes into this thinking that she's about to hear some great news because she's pretty sure she's not a cult.
Oh,
and
yeah. She's like, Molly, I hope she's not scary. Like as if Teal isn't fucking frightening. I mean, I do want to
Yeah,
go as Teal as my Halloween costume. Have I said that already? Like
you did.
it's Halloween time and I want to go as her. Like I'm absolutely, I'm gonna dye my hair. I'll do the whole thing. Wow.
You're gonna dye your hair.
Well, we'll see. I'll wear a wig. Go on.
Okay, great. So she starts to ask her about these things, and Teal gets immediately very defensive. She's like, well, I mean, I don't make them do that, and no, they can leave if they want to, like, obviously. But the thing what Molly's trying to figure out is, like, when they leave, what is that departure like? And if they do leave, do you cut off all connection with them? Like, so it's like, yes, they can leave, but do you leave with calling them a piece of shit and a coward? And the answer is yes. They can
Mm-hmm.
leave, and she will cut you off and basically tell you that you're going to die a sad and slow and lonely death without her.
Mm-hmm.
And then she misspeaks and she gets just upset and she backpedals. And then at the end, she ends up telling Molly, well, do you want me to answer the question? Like, she gets agitated. And then when the conversation is over, Teal's like, I don't know what people want me to say. It's like, I'm trying to do something to save the world, and then everybody wants me to be nice about it. Like, fuck that. I'm not going to be nice. I'm trying to save the world. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
cult.
Do you want me to not say that my work is incredibly important and people have to like completely give me their lives to do it because it's like my life too? Do you want me to
Yeah.
not say that? That's the truth. Like it's, and then she gets really upset at Mateus and Blake. She's like, I lost trust in you. Like, Mateus, you got to fix this, And like Mateus is like, Blake has like, God bless, one foot out the door.
Yeah.
Um,
I actually thought Mateus was actually going to have some balls and be like, this was the answer, Teal. It looks like it is a cult. So we are going to have to fix stuff. But no, he goes, no, you're right. This was obviously a huge waste of time. What?
they have a next scene where Teal and Juliana are like out on the porch, honey, like two Southern ladies, in the sunlight, sipping mint juleps, but it's not, unfortunately mint juleps, and it would be out of like it would be weird like shroom tea out of like owl cups, squid, squirrel cups if it was anything, but it's like Teal looks right at Juliana and is like, "What would make you go back to Germany?" And Juliana, I'm sure, pees her fucking pants because like Teal is incredibly intense and answers, if I felt completely alone. And Teal takes that in, honey. And
She's like,
then,
got it.
uh,
Gotcha.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Thanks for
Honey,
that feedback.
Yeah. She like recorded that answer in her like weird Terminator brain. She kind of also reminds me of the bad Terminator in Terminator 2, like how how Arnold's a good one by that time, but then there's like the bad
Hmm.
one that's at the top. She kind of like gives me that vibe a little bit. Like,
Because the one she was running.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly that vibe in that right. Yes, that was the exact moment. And I have a picture of it. Okay, good. So right after that, then we get this long ass scene. This scene is, I think, one of the most painful scenes for me to watch in the entire documentary. It's not a docu-series. This is episode 4. She sits everyone down and she says, I'm really angry today. And it's because someone is admitting a personal truth. Juliana, that's what's happening to you. You feel like an adversary to me, and I need that to change. I need your truth on the table, what you think about me, real fucking quick.
And Juliana says, what is adversary?
They're
And someone
like,
has to tell her enemy. And she's like,
enemy.
oh. I
Yeah, like
mean,
you're the antagonist. You are the wrong one. You are the bad one. Oh my God. Like this sweet ass, angel ass Juliana, like Blake's in the room. Everyone's in the room. It's the girl that didn't go to the didn't become a doctor. It's her dude. It's Scion. It's Mattias. It's like Gracie. They're all in this like circle now, like where Teal is like about to go in on Juliana as if Teal was a shark and Juliana was like fresh bait.
and this is another cult tactic is get the group together to beat up on one person to make everybody feel better and safe and secure. And every single one of them are shitheads and deserve whatever happens to them for what they do to Juliana in this room. Okay.
Mhm.
These fools, this circle jerk of fucking idiots, sit around and tell her that they really do feel the anger that's wafting off of her, and
Yeah.
that that she's jealous of Teal and Teal's power and her sexual energy, and she wants to take over from Teal, and they just all like turn on her. And then
Yeah.
Teal says something like, you see that smirk on your face? And then we look at Juliana and the girl has no smirk on her face. She has a smile line,
Yeah.
but I don't think it could be considered a smirk. And
Mhm.
all of these fuckers just go in, except for Blake. And Blake has to sit next to her and make a choice in that moment what the fuck he's gonna do.
Yeah. He like tries to stand up for her. Like there's one point where he's like, damn, Sky, you listen to every bad thing you can think of. And that's what I get to live with in every like Tales like that's what after all these people say these things, she's like, that's what I get to live with every day in the room with you. And then Blake looks at Teal and he's like, what was the point of this? And right away she's like, I don't know, Blake, what was the point of this?
Yeah, like fall into line, motherfucker. And Blake is like, no, I'm not gonna. You created. This is why I'm telling you, this girl needs me as her. Teal needs me as her fucking advisor, because this is when I was gonna say, back up, because you're gonna lose the one person that gives you credibility. This kind soul loves you, and he's loved you for 18 years, and he is the reason why you have the following that you have. Okay, not because of you, because of the yin and yang of the both of you, and you're fucking it up. But she got too in her head, she got scared, and she chose to just lash out. And Sky, that's not his fucking name. What is it, Sky Blue? Okay, it should be Navy Goose, or so what is it, Sapphire Goose, Navy
Turquoise goose.
Turquoise Goose.
Honey.
Uh, yeah, I mean, just Sky and Scion. Fuck these fuckers.
Yeah,
Fuck
yeah,
'em.
yeah, yeah. What is no doctor named? Like,
I don't know. Taylor? I don't know.
yeah, what's Taylor like how come Taylor gets Taylor? Taylor
No,
needs to
she
be
should be
called
Sapphire Goose. She should be Sapphire Goose. And then it's Cobalt Heron. And then it is, oh man, Gracie. What's Gracie's name?
Navy.
Navy. Oh yeah, she's Navy Duck.
Navy duck.
Navy
Uh,
Duck.
yeah, I mean, listen, God, I really want to be here for Halloween.
I just
Um,
think that Matthias is such a punk. Like he, to me, I expected more of him, and he really let me down.
you're right. So in the next scene, it's intercut. Blake is packing his shit with Juliana, like getting the fuck out of here. And Tila and Mathis go on a little stroll. Um, um, And then Teal and Blake have to have their like conversation. And this also is incredibly painful. I can only watch it the first time. I couldn't really watch it the second time because she is just in the kitchen and it's just her, Mathis, Gracie, and her. And she's sitting on the countertop and she is just like, she says she's pissed off. This whole thing operates according to an 18-year promise we made. This has broken my heart, she says. Me too, he utters. Like, it is like he is broken. He doesn't like even really want to look on her, like look at her, like his head is in his hands. She says, I think you are weak. It's my honest truth. I think you lack bravery and I think you lack honor. But you've made your bed and now you have to lie in it. He's like, I can't wait to lie in it. You know, like
Yeah.
Juliana is like a little angel, honey. Like, get me
Yeah.
away. He
I can't
his
wait to
head.
lie in that Yep.
Yeah. Love you,
I just
Hima.
think,
And she just like hugs him. What?
sorry. I just really think that she was top tier piece of shit in that moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Friendship 101. L- Family member 101. She completely burned that bridge for no reason. And everyone sat back and watched her do it to her best friend. They have to know if she's going to do it to him, she'll do it to them. But Gracie just sits back and it's just like, I guess, I'm never leaving. And yeah, he is coward. He is weak because he doesn't want to help Teal save the world anymore. Teal could have let Blake go with Grace and she could have cried and she could have, hugged him and said, I'm going to really miss you. And I'm sorry. But then she just chooses to go into rage and to be rude, to be a rude asshole. And I was like, you deserve anything negative that comes to you at this point.
She chose violence. This just means so much to her. She really wants him in her orbit. I think that he really was her safe space. I think that he is the one person that like taught her how to love and like took care of her where I just feel like she could not handle not being his number one. Like her narcissistic attitude, and that's why she has this inner circle, is she wants to be all of theirs number ones, like a cult leader. I want to be your god, your goddess. It's just me. Like her whole talk when she was like, I love the fact that Juliana doesn't really make any sort of flinch when we're together, or you touch me or I touch you. She's really good at that, which is important because like it's just, she always wanted to have 100% access to him the same way. And she could start to probably tell that she was not getting that, especially after they got married. And yeah, like maybe if they wanted to have kids, she was like, I'm going to absolutely lose him, you know?
Yeah. Even though she had 5 fucking husbands and a
Yeah.
baby on him. She had 5 husbands and a baby on him, but she has the audacity to tell him that he's weak and that is her truth. His truth
Yes.
is that he's loved her for 18 years. And now
Yeah.
he's finally out of the stupid tunnel and he's found somebody who is beautiful and lovely. And she can't handle that. She can't even be happy for him because that's how much of a narcissist she is.
Yeah.
So they hug each other and she doesn't hug back. She just kind of leans into him and he's still graceful and
Wait, can
she's
I ask a question? Do you think, what's the last time you think Teal and Blake had boned or had sex?
I have no idea. I didn't think of it. I don't see Blake as a sexual entity. He's like
I
Jack Skellington with skin to me.
Great Halloween reference. Oh my god. He is a slender man. That's true. That's true. But strong nonetheless. I just feel like I
You said that
wonder.
as though he's gonna watch this and you don't want him to think that he's not strong.
He's gone through so much trauma.
Oh, okay. So you want to protect him and so that if he ever comes across this podcast, he knows that Chris Farah thinks that he's a strong, slender man?
Well, I think that he's strong, and I think that he's slender. Not all skinny guys aren't strong, but he's a
I never
strong
said
one.
he wasn't strong. I'm saying he wasn't
I'm just being
strong.
nice. This is a sweet part of the podcast.
Oh
I mean,
yeah, I'm
sweet.
sorry. I'm sorry. This is mildly sweet. I forget.
Docu-salties. That have been a better
DocuSingies.
docu-series, docu-salties. No, I think Sweeties it still works.
Yeah.
But then the next scene is that Blake is setting up his new apartment, honey, and he gets all his stuff here. He's going to put his aquarium together because he had to move all his fish. Okay, and Julian offers to help. And then, honey, he is pouring water in and he gets the little fishies in and he uses his hands, honey, to like pick up the fishies. They're not really little fishies, they're kind of like bigger fishies. And he puts them in the water, my God, and they have not made the journey.
All of
Okay.
them die.
They freaked the fuck out in this tub of water, or Teal killed them.
Hot take.
She could have just put something in that water. Like I want all of them died. I mean, maybe it was real sloshy in the truck, and they were just like, ah! They just like all got scared. They were just like living their best life or whatever. Like, God, wow. Anyway, so this is a horrible scene. Like this is a horrible scene of him putting his hand in the orange like Gatorade whatever container and putting it in the
Home
aquarium.
Depot. Home Depot.
Home Depot. I love you so much, Wall. And then like feeling the fish in his hand and being like, "Are you dead?" And the fish is just kind of like going to one side, God bless, and he's like kind of like, "No," and he like takes his hand and is like, "Go back this way," and the fish is like, it's just horrible. He's like, then gets them out. And the next scene is that he's fucking burying this fish in like what looks like off of a carway, like a highway. Like there's like
Highway.
whatever it is, honey, there's cars and there's lights coming and there's like traffic noises. And he is crying. And it's like he finally is crying over the fact that he left someone like Teal and like realized what he got himself out of. And like fish didn't make it. And like parts of him will never be the same. Oh my God, it's such beautiful filmmaking. I just can't even stand it. Wah.
The hardest part about this is that you know that Blake is hurting because he didn't want to leave Teal, but he was forced to make a choice. And he
Mm-hmm.
chose his wife instead, which was the right choice. And it's going to take him a long time to undo what Teal wrought. There are people who leave cults on purpose and have a hard time living in life. And so for someone who doesn't leave on purpose, Juliana's now task, if they're still married, and I hope they are, is to help rebuild him. So much so that they literally, in a few months, leave to Germany. Like, they leave to go to Germany so that he can have a completely new and different life. And it's going to take him, I mean, I learned this from Sex and the City because I don't know from personal experience that it takes you half the amount of time you were in the relationship to truly get over it. Now, how true that is, I don't know. But if it is true, it's going to take him 9 years. That's a hell of a road for
Yeah.
Juliana to trudge, especially when you've been indoctrinated and you also helped to create it, because it's not only that he needs to come from underneath Teal's spell, but once he does come out of it, he's going to realize that he helped create something very dangerous and that has affected and hurt a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so he's going to have to come to terms with that as well.
I hope that maybe like I wonder if Leah Remini watches this, like because I feel like there's some like crosstalk about that kind of thing. She talked
Mhm.
about with that Australian guy who felt really bad too. I forgot his name.
Yeah, Mike.
But yeah, Mike, yeah. Blake has to like go on the Facebook Teal tribe and then like leave a post, you know what I'm saying? Being like basically like PR, like this is his PR move where he's like, I'm leaving, but it's just because I have new beginnings with a new wife or whatever. And then like people start commenting and saying like, we're gonna miss you so much. And Teal is watching in a real time, is just like so pissed. She's like, um, can you believe it's men congratulating him on leaving the high, like on leaving? If they only knew the situation, Juliana, like they would want Juliana dead. They're just like, she's so angry. She's so upset. She like goes for a run in this jacket where she definitely looks like the person come running after you, like the Terminator and the bad one in Terminator 2, like the cop coming at you, honey. I mean, this jacket is so interesting. She's just running on the highway. She's scary. She's scary. Juliana was scared of her. She's scary as scary. Like I would shit my pants if I was in this inner circle. Like I would not be able to. I'm like so scared of aggressive women. Like I've always been my whole life. I mean, like I'm just. Oh yeah, there was this bully I had. Like I had like a weird bully like for so long because she like kept going to the same school as me. God bless, but whatever. It's like crazy, and she would play soccer and I would just like give up the ball, just like be scared so shitless of her coming at me. I can't deal. No, I'm a little baby. So then after this, she gets the whole inner circle that's left to all meet together, and she wants because she's so scared of losing others to get of getting partners and wants them um, because she says they are her greatest, sorry, so this is what she says to everyone. She wants them to not she wants them to write this contract because they are all her greatest protection or her greatest liability. And her contract is like, how do you keep me safe? And this contract are like, some people are like, well, we will have agreed upon consequences, there are going to be boundaries, and this is like what we want for our life, and the non-negotiables go for our people. And then one woman's like, well, how about our children? And she's like, well, we won't just have children. She's like, well, and Teal's like, thank God, because I really can't be like awoken up at 3 a.m., honey, with like a crying baby. Ugh. But I'll have my child. Well,
That is crazy to me that she said that. I can't be woken up at night by a crying baby. How do you care about people if you don't care about babies? One. Two, this whole thing of you being scared of aggressive women, so what does that mean, that I'm not aggressive? Because I've been told all my life that A, I am aggressive. And then B, I'm gonna tell you right now, ain't no bitch gonna have me running scared. That's the end of my sentence.
I love you so much. Well, I don't think you're aggressive. I think that you're around me, like you're like a little sub. You know, you make me do everything. You know what I'm saying? Like you want me to pick all the things and like
Because you have such strong opinions about everything. And if I say no to something, you get angry and you're like, why don't you like this? Why don't you want this? And then if
not
I do try
aggressive.
to like, yeah, and if I do try to put us on any kind of track or a schedule, you get angry about that too. Like you like you scare me because you are just like any moment I'm just worried you're going to decide to take a nap and then our whole day is going to go to shit. So I have to like try to just be like, okay, Chris, whatever you want to do, and then you interpret that as me wanting you to like make decisions. I'm just allowing you to have the freedom that I think that you so desperately want. Otherwise, I'd plan our whole day from beginning to end and we would get so much done and there would be no fucking naps. But you are like, I just can't move and I just don't. So I'm like, okay, let me just let her like move about the way she wants to. Because the moment I try to be like, hey, let's go somewhere in 15 minutes, you're like, well, can we just like go someplace in maybe 15 minutes, but also maybe an hour and a half? And I'm like, okay. That's what happens to me.
You know what? This is why I like. This is the part of Teal where I was like, you have to just like let me be me and let me and like be in my cause, you know, and like whatever the spirits are telling me, honey, is like what happens, you know,
I
like
do. I
okay,
do. That's why
have
I
you
let you make the decisions.
okay,
So
I see
because
what's
I'm letting you be who you are because you know I will make those decisions.
we go back to Molly, honey, and like she's like taking care of frogs all the time. I love that Molly, you know, but she says that she's done with her report and knows it will never see the light of day. She said they made it clear that they don't want to look at it, honey. So we can only gather that it was basically like, no, you don't directly cause suicides, but yes, you are absolutely a full cult leader. And those
Yeah.
people that are around you like should no. Like, could you imagine being in something where an independent person tells you that you're in a cult? Like, how would you, like, that'd be such an interesting, like, oh, is this person lying to me? This independent, like, I wonder if this is the thing that gets to Blake and if this is, if it, because we don't know really if, there are some things we know, but we don't know if Mathis and Grace, you know, like,
I have a question. Am I happy? Or am I like
yes and
or
no.
am I scared?
You
Okay.
feel you have like you have friends, you have a place, you have a purpose. You are
But
sometimes scared.
if yeah, okay, then no. If I am at any point mildly anxious about anybody around me, it triggers me because I grew up in a scenario where I was anxious. I grew up feeling like the people that were supposed to love me didn't love me and like not understanding why and like now then also not understanding the expectations set in front of me. So now in my life, if anyone causes me anxiety, I'm immediately angry at them and I want to smash them because as a child, I was unable to do so and also unable to identify it. So I'm gonna tell you right now, if you were in a cult, Chris, I would be the leader of it. So, and I'm gonna do it well. I'm gonna do it well. I'm gonna do it right.
Okay, let me give us treats. You know, I love a treat. Molly says when we only do things that please us and not frighten us, fewer and fewer things please us until we are prisoners in a garden of our own making. And that, Yeah. And that ultimately that is what Teal has done. And Teal just keeps getting, plaques from YouTube, honey, for, lots of views, way more views than I've ever gotten. Wow.
Girl, when I saw that damn plaque from YouTube, I wanted to write a fucking stern ass letter. I was like,
Yeah.
fuck that bitch. This bitch is
Yeah.
telling people to off themselves, and I'm over here providing jokes and hee hee ha ha's, and you don't give me a fucking placard. In fact, you don't even send my shit out for anybody to see anymore. So don't show me any video of somebody getting a goddamn play button.
I know it. Wow.
It's like,
I
what
know.
do I need to do to get a play button, Chris? Do I need to fake create a cult? I mean, the truth, we do have
Yes.
a solid, dedicated group of folks who love us. I wouldn't say it's a cult, or should we?
I'm just saying, like, what do we have to do? We have to make those people just pretend that they're not gonna ever have kids. Is that what we
Oh
do?
my God. That sounds wild to me. I would never
Yeah.
tell somebody that they couldn't have kids and they couldn't have outside partners. Like that is wild. I'm sure Gracie is not asexual. If anything, I think you're right. And Gracie might be in love with Teal. I don't think it's I don't think it's reciprocated in the other way, but I definitely think that Gracie is like, you are the air that I breathe and the sustenance that I need in order to get through life. Keep poisoning me with frog serum and I'll keep vomiting in buckets for you.
Yeah. Do you think that there's any sex going on in that house?
Yes, Sky and the girl who didn't become a doctor.
Okay. Goes on to say in all her wisdom, you are never completely whole after, and this is shown over Blake, after you separate from someone you were so entwined with. But when you leave, you have to almost become somebody else. But you have the power to change who you are, and it helps knowing you have the power to do that. You
Mm-hmm.
know? And I think that Blake is ultimately going to be incredibly changed from this moment. And whether he picked Juliana or he picked himself or he knew that bringing Juliana was a key, like, he is a fascinating person. I would have loved to, like, of course, have a conversation with him. I hope that he's doing well with Juliana.
Oh, I
And
can't
yeah,
imagine. I
they
can't
go
imagine
back.
having a conversation with Blake. I feel like it would just be like, I'm Blake, and he would like, hey Blake, what did you think about that? And he'd be like, well, no, can't have a conversation with him.
Cut on. In Germany, she gets to reunite with her mom in real life, and the mom asks, like, did you find what you were looking for? Did you find your answer? And she just doesn't really reply, or at least the filmmakers chose that for us. And we go back to Teal, honey, who, listen, Teal is getting ready for a Teal extravaganza. So she puts on one of her sequin gowns, and she has her, like, freshly hennaed hair and her eyebrows plucked to a near inch of their depth. And, like, she chooses open-toed shoes, and we're just gonna, like, talk for a second. In our Patreon, you get a little picture every now and then of what we can say is why someone would choose those shoes, knowing those toes haven't seen not nary a glimmer of anything in light in the years. You know what I'm saying? She runs. She's a runner. She pounds the pavement in those hooves, honey, and she, like, puts them in those open-toed shoes. Wow.
They are black patent, peep toe, sling back pumps. Okay. And if they're from Cole Haan, I know that they cost $278 and they have Nike Air in them. And they ain't nothing but a little 2.5 inch. And I'm upset about it. I'm upset about it because they should at least be 3.5. Okay, so she goes out in front of all these people and then she says, by a raise of hands, who here feels they're in so much pain that there's no way out of it? And all these folk raise their hand and it's just like, more lambs to the slaughter.
Mhm.
I just really feel like that scene of Blake laying in like a German forest, a moss covered German forest on his back, like trying to get a new perspective, is really powerful as well. I love the fact that Juliana was able to get out of the cult because honestly her mother was worried about it. And I think her mother knew what was up, but in some kind of, interesting European fashion, she was like, I'm just going to let my daughter go and do her thing. And then she'll come back eventually, because the truth is that whatever Juliana was searching for, it didn't come from her parents, and thank God Teal never made Juliana think of her parents in any kind of negative light. And so part of the tactic is to separate the person from their family and
Mhm.
drive that wedge so that they feel like their family and anybody related or knowing of their family, they have to walk away from in order to get the healing that they need. And I just think to myself, guys, if you need healing and it is completely walking away from even your chosen family, then that should be cause for concern. Because yeah, your blood family, walk away from them. Them folks is crazy, okay? Your chosen family though, if you're not choosing wisely at this age, then I can see why Till Swan might be somebody to help you. But your chosen family, then people should be solid.
Yeah, it's interesting the crossbody of people we saw that are like part of the retreats and things that they gave their release to be in the docu-series, from that gentleman, I think Ali was his name, to or Amir, to the woman that was water tortured. Like, there's just so many different types. And all of them, it makes me think of also when Teal accused Juliana of smirking. And of course, the last moment is her smirking and just knowing again that she can feed on people's trauma. And so opening up with that question and seeing so many hands, it's like, oh, I'm going to make a lot of money right now. Like it's like my thing. It's like, instead of a comedian having an opening joke and having it kill, and you hear laughs and you're like, oh, okay, like, oh, I'm gonna ease up a bit, like, these are my people, I have, they're gonna buy what I'm selling them, which is the rest of my set. Like, if this kills now, I can kind of like, it's the same thing, but instead of like ha-has, it's like wah-wahs.
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
That's
I'm
great. No, that was great. Thank you. I mean, listen, these kinds of podcasts that we do where the topic is so heavy, we have to throw in the hee hee ha ha's. We do. We have to. I think that was great. Where's that marker so I can make that make that a bit. So I guess I just am like, she gets people from all walks of life to sit in this room and they're all hurting in some way. And it's like she doesn't need her inner circle. Truly, she doesn't need that inner circle to be big. She can only truly abuse. She only needs to truly abuse, like in real life, in real time, 5 people, because
interns.
everybody else, yeah, everybody else will just buy her shit. Like, those are the people who are the bread and butter. Those are the people who buy the artwork. Those are the people who go and buy the leggings and who sign up for, who probably sign up for now what's probably her private YouTube subscription series and all that stuff. I do want to know what happened to the girl that was being water tortured and see like where she's at in this life and what she thinks of the docu series. But you know what we have for you guys, a special treat because Chris, the internet sleuth, okay, has done some research, some reconnaissance, if you will, on what Teal thought of the documentary and some information about the documentary. And so she's going to use this time to have like a fireside chat with Chris.
Basically, yeah. So Teal has a couple of things. One really great way to do a podcast moment after this, and I would highly recommend you to listen to Kate Casey's, so Reality Life with Kate Casey's episode 487, because she does so many. And she entitled this The Deep End Teal Swan docuseries with director John Casp, and then Sarah Edmondson's also in the episode. So John Casp is the director, and having this really insightful interview that Case does with him over how they made the docu series is really lovely and intense, and it sheds a light because, of course, as we've said, it's beautifully shot and the access they have is overwhelming. They just spent a lot of time with Teal. So what had happened was Teal wanted, I think, also to have because you can imagine how someone who thought that things were going to go well wanted to have a precedented look by a docu-series team to, in fact, show the work that they're doing, get more eyes on them, like share their message, prove they're not cults and everything. And they spent holidays and stuff like that. Teal talks about the fact that the film crew spent like months and months, if not years, and like were there so much. And the director also talks about the fact that Teal was just really, really open to sharing all of her parts because she wanted to make a point. Why didn't you say anything?
No, I was just looking up the episode 487. I found it and I saved it, and I'm gonna listen to it tonight and on my way to work tomorrow.
Yeah. Now, other people have come out. There is a website called Mormon Stories, and there is a very long interview you can listen to called Growing Up with Teal Swan with Diana Hansen Ribera. And basically, it talks about how they grew up together and how Teal's practices came from certain moments in their youth. Diana provides through detail to challenge Teal's false claims of being a victim of satanic ritual abuse and sex trafficking as a child, and explains how Teal developed her coercion skills and harmful techniques with Diana that Teal would eventually employ on a broader scale. So Teal had worked with a psychiatrist out in Utah that for some reason also had a propensity to be a magnet to clients who all under meditative principles would talk about having abuse done to them through a satanic cult, whether their parents were involved or whatever. So that girl had used, Teal could have been a subject of that person and also a victim of, but it's all very interesting. Also, we have this moment with an internet sleuth finding out that Blake, who, by the way, now lives in Utah and runs kind of like an water adventure tour guide esque business. You know, they do like probably kayaking and river rafting. I'm not quite sure, maybe hiking. The Teal Swan released the report, is this Twitter. A colleague supporting the petition brought this to my attention, and it further reinforces the need for some greater transparency from Teal Swan on how she runs her company. What was the purpose of this group, and why was Sunnyside Experience a moderator as far back as 2016? So, here, wait 1 second. In that, you see that Blake Dyer is in the group, who, of course, is Blake, and what was a private group, and what, and you know, like basically if he was knowledgeable of it or if he was further in on some of her more nefarious schemes. But there's a lot of Reddit information and different people who have like known her or like used to know her or were people in her inner circle like Jared. There's a website called Celestial Healing that has a whole story from another one of her inner circle friends. So, you know, that's all on the website for you. And by website, I mean the internet. There's also her parents did an interview where they basically talk about how much they loved her and how they refute her claims. So, and she has done by episode different YouTube videos on her YouTube talking about how the series is incredibly edited out of sequence and how out of context, and how it's very deceptive and just propaganda. And what she'll do is she'll show you unedited footage of what was shot in front of her for like maybe some of her Marriott lectures, and how she was edited to look cold when she was actually more warm. And that footage is on her website too. So I still think she's a cult leader. I definitely think that docuseries is heavily edited, which we can tell because it looks so beautiful. You know, like that's, you can't, I mean, there's editing involved, there's storytelling involved. I think that what they portrayed was a picture of someone who definitely is a narcissist, and that comes through. And I think that is going to always come through. And you can't, like, because they shot so much footage, they still gave us 4 very packed episodes. So what they had felt like, you know, probably was an unprecedented amount.
Yeah, you really, when you're doing something of that large scale where you're with somebody for 2 years, there's a lot of stuff that ends up on the editing floor, but there's also an element of storytelling. There's a person who has to like literally sift through all that or be there and then come up with through lines and storylines that they must tell. I am now ready for the deep end part 2, Who the fuck is Sky? Like, I want to know about all of the inner circle, the cyans, the people who are so excited to be there. I want to talk to the woman who claims that she took on some other woman's parents in spirit. I think there's more to, you know, talk about, obviously,
oh,
but
yeah.
it is just it's a glimpse of from someone's specific point of view. Obviously, they want to kind of take Blake off the hook a little bit and show him as somewhat of a victim. And they want to have us see that Juliana, it's skewed definitely. And I mean, if you obviously want to go see what the difference was between the documentary and what she did, I don't think that necessarily you can go bit by bit for every choice they make and show how you were warm instead of cold looking, but that doesn't necessarily change that you told your friend that he was fucking weak and you were disappointed in him.
Yeah.
That doesn't change that you basically water tortured a girl who challenged you, and so therefore you kept telling her that, why do you keep coming here then? Why are you here if it's not helping you? Because bitch, you told me you were going to help me. That's why I keep coming here, because I want help, because I can't live this way. I'm not going to live if I don't get help, and I don't go to my therapist anymore because you told me not to. So like, you got to fucking fix me now.
Oh, absolutely. We see the twinkle in Teal's eye every time she gets to talk about that everything's about how hot I am or how I'm sexually manipulative or everyone just always loves me so much. I'm just like so sick of it. You know, she's just like, everything she does is so like, everything she complains about is so hideous for what she's doing. This is just, unfortunately, they can't show it all. But I completely agree, Wa. Like, I could have a season 2 where we have a conversation with Blake and Juliana now, where
Yeah,
yeah.
I want to see Winter 15 years later. I want to know what his story is, how he was growing up in a house with a bunch of mishmash of people in there. I want to know if he ever felt some kind of way, especially if he tries to go off and live a life where it's not surrounding his mother.
Mhm.
Or maybe she ignored him because she doesn't like screaming children. Who knows? Who knows how he felt after Blake left? Blake is that child's father or uncle, best uncle.
Definitely that. Definitely that. You're absolutely right. The kind of people that are drawn to Teal's inner circle would only be described as, for me, the types of mugs that I have in my pantry, where it's just a mishmash. I mean, there's one after another. And if we're talking about the mugs in this series, which I've talked about every episode, they're obviously animals, critter animals. He loves it. You know, whether that was, I feel like, Blake's doing. Maybe Gracie had some hand in that too. You know, I don't see Teal buying them. You know, I think Teal was like too busy. But why? Can you believe it?
I believe it. I mean, when you say that Till's too busy, I just wonder what she does, because she doesn't go on the internet and do anything. She doesn't hire anybody. Like, is she just like exercising and I don't know what she actually does in her days. It's not like I feel like she's this like businesswoman. Matthias does that. She has a whole group of people to do stuff. She literally probably just like sits back and just has Gracie bring her tea.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we could be her instead of suffering. We like are obviously trading on laughs or whatever. So it's just like we're like performers, you know? I guess it's what we could do. It's what we want to do.
Yeah.
But like, what a life, because I really could just like have a bunch of people doing a bunch of stuff for me, and me just like, my job is to dye my hair, and I would get a manicure pedicure, which we've already known about me,
Hmm.
and yeah, maybe work out sometimes.
I mean, you would also have to
What?
invest more than you already do in caftans, and I think you'd have no
Say
problem with that.
less. Say less.
Hmm. I agree. All right,
Oh,
everyone.
my baby boos. So let's tell you all about the business. Thank you so much for listening. We really enjoyed this docu-series. Like, it's probably one of the favorites that I've ever watched. And it's just, again, so fun and so ridiculous and so horrible and so cringy and so just like it is all the emotion. So brava. But if you feel any sort of way about what we've talked about, or the documentary made you feel any sort of way, just so you know, hulu.com/, the deep end has resources for you to reach out to credible people who can hopefully help you and give you advice or give you, an area to go to. So God bless. We love you so much. You can follow us on Instagram at DocuSweeties, and we live on TikTok, DocuSweeties1, and also Twitter. This whole time we've been putting up pictures, and I'm doing a little hair mask in my cute turban. It's Olaplex 8. And you can, watch it. How?
You can watch us and get an unedited version of this audio at patreon.com/DocuSweeties for only $10 a month.
Mhm.
You would, that $10 is gonna go towards helping us get these edited, and really that's it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We can't buy anything else.
Yeah.
But we love you guys so much, and we're so thankful that you're listening. And also, if you haven't yet, rate us 5 stars and like do it on like your spouse's phone, like grab your parents' phone, like just get it done. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, just get it done.
They don't know how to do it, just do it for them,
I don't care.
and we thank you.
Use a fake name.
Yeah.
Okay, we love you guys. Bye.
Bye.